What's going on, everybody? It's Alex here with Natural Health and Fitness Tips, and I've got a question for you. Are you leptin resistant? Because most overweight men and women are leptin resistant, even if they don't know it. And really, with leptin resistance, what it comes down to is your diet. What are you eating? Are you eating the right foods? And are the foods you're eating contributing to your leptin resistance? So what I've got for you here are 3 superfoods that I eat on a very regular basis that will increase your leptin sensitivity. I'm going to go a little bit into the research as to why these foods are so potent at increasing your leptin sensitivity, and also a few ways that you can easily incorporate these foods into your diet today to get that leptin sensitivity up. Okay, so let's get right into it. Now, the first food we're going to talk about is salmon. And now salmon is really good for your leptin sensitivity because it has a lot of omega-3 fatty acid in it. And I know you've probably heard about omega-3 fatty acid before, but what I want to tell you about is some research that was done over at the University of Queensland, their School of Medicine. They found that higher levels of omega-3 fatty acid in the diet increase the amount of leptin in the bloodstream. And leptin is a satiety hormone, so higher levels of leptin mean less hunger after you eat, less cravings. And what they did was they linked that higher level of leptin to lower weight regain in obese subjects that lost weight. So if you want to lose weight and keep it off, you want to make sure that you have enough omega-3 fatty acid in your diet after you've lost the weight. Now, salmon is also really good for losing weight for another reason. It's very high in protein. Now, protein is thermogenic, which means that you're going to increase your basal metabolic rate as you eat protein. And your basal metabolic rate is just how many calories you're burning naturally without doing any extra exercise. Just sitting on the couch, you're burning more calories if you're eating more protein, and salmon's a great source of protein. Now, personally, when I eat salmon, I do it really simple. I just throw it in the oven with a little bit of seasoning, some lemon juice on there to kill the fish flavor. I might throw it on a fish taco with some sauce, but really it's pretty simple. You just put it in the oven, and it's really good if you're on a time crunch too. Now, the second food we're going to talk about is cocoa powder. So it's not really a food, it's more of a supplement. But the reason why cocoa is so good at increasing leptin sensitivity is because it has a lot of bioavailable zinc in it. Now, why do we care about zinc? Well, the researchers over at Selçuk University, their medical school that's over in Turkey, they found that zinc deficiency was linked to an inhibited leptin secretion. So their subjects that had lower zinc levels in the blood also had lower leptin. And when you have low leptin, that's when you get all those cravings. You want to go for the bag of potato chips instead of something healthy, and you just keep eating and eating and eating. You get into that vicious binge eating cycle. So you want to make sure that you have plenty of zinc to stave off those cravings and keep the leptin concentrations in the blood high. Now, cocoa powder is pretty bitter. You don't want to eat it on its own. So when I take my cocoa powder, what I normally do is put it in my protein shake, my post-workout shake, or maybe a smoothie that I might have in the morning. The sugar that's in your fruit smoothie, or the sweeteners that are in your protein powder will kill that bitterness, make it a little bit more palatable. Or alternatively, you could have a high percent cocoa dark chocolate, either as a dessert after dinner or after lunch. Kind of doubles as a sweet treat, give you, stave off the cravings of the sweets that you might want, while also giving you the zinc that you need to keep your leptin levels high. Now, the third food we're going to talk about is kale. Now, kale is a superfood for a lot of different reasons. When people talk about kale as a superfood, they are mostly touting all of the nutrient benefits that it has, but I'm not really going to touch that right now. The reason why kale is so good for increasing leptin sensitivity is because of its high level of fiber. It's a great source of fiber. There's research done over at Suzhou University in China, their School of Public Health, found that high fiber content in the diet increased the protein expression of LEPR and JAK2. Now, these are 2 proteins that have been known to enhance leptin signaling in the brain. And when you have increased leptin signaling in the brain, you also have a higher leptin sensitivity. So you want to make sure that those proteins are expressing themselves properly and that's done through having a high fiber diet. Now, kale, like cocoa powder, is also pretty bitter. I don't know a whole lot of people who enjoy, a kale salad. It's pretty bitter on its own. So just like cocoa powder, I like to put it in a fruit smoothie in the morning. The sugars from the fruit are gonna kind of kill that bitterness. Honestly, I don't even taste the kale, but I know that I'm getting good, high quality fiber every time I put a serving of kale in my fruit smoothie first thing in the morning. And that's one way to do it, but honestly, my personal favorite way to get enough kale in my diet is to eat kale chips. You can either buy kale chips at the store, a place like Whole Foods might have them, or even Sprouts, maybe Kroger could have some kale chips, or you can make them yourself. You just buy the kale at the store, throw it in the oven, with a little bit of olive oil and salt. There are plenty of recipes online for great, good tasting kale chips, and that's a great way to get enough fiber and to get the kale that you need to increase your leptin sensitivity and stave off those cravings. Okay, so those were 3 superfoods that are going to increase your leptin sensitivity. First we had salmon, which is really good because of its protein content and its omega-3 fatty acid content. We talked about cocoa powder, which is good for leptin sensitivity because of its high bioavailable zinc concentration. And lastly, we talked about kale because of its high fiber content and high quality fiber content. So that's it for this video, guys. Make sure you like and subscribe and stay on the lookout for new videos in the future. Thanks.